By the way, can you pull up Mark Cuban's tweet while we're going through this? So here's Mark Cuban after the debate. Because there's some people that are saying, we got to replace him, we got to replace him, we got to replace him. This is Mark Cuban. His performance was awful, but so was Trump's. Biden was feeble. Trump couldn't directly answer a single question and lied with every response, which is kind of funny. We'll play a CNN clip of how many times Biden lied, which, Rob, if you can find that afterwards while we're going through this. But, okay, Mark, we'll follow. The question is what features voters believe make a better president, feeble, capable, and ethical versus vigorous, unethical, and incapable of telling the truth. All right, I'll vote ethical every time. The reality is Joe wasn't capable last night of debating someone who only lies. He doesn't have the energy or the ability to shut him down, hold him accountable, and laugh at Trump's responses. Joe could have held his own against a candidate that actually can discuss policy, but that wasn't the challenge last night, and Joe wasn't prepared or capable of dealing with Donald and his style. That aside, there is no way you could listen to Donald last night. Rob, can you raise it? And come away feeling confident that Trump has the ability to go deeper than his practiced sound bites. He repeated himself often and never directly answered the moderator's questions. There was nothing that would give anyone confidence he could hold his own in any complicated situation or that he could intellectually go toe-to-toe with any world leader or adversary. The fact that he believes this stuff that he's writing, in fact, his non-answers about J6 and election, well, definitely this is going to be bad for you because the immunity that came out, and election acceptance should scare every American about his interest in upholding his oath to the Constitution. That doesn't make Biden's performance any less awful, but he answered the question he was asked. And if the presentation was underwhelming, and we have the last 3 years plus and of his being president without his getting laughed or smirked at, no tell-all or leaks discussing his incompetence, no former advisor or cabinet member saying that they won't vote for him, that gives me the confidence that in the formal duties of the presidency, he can hold his own and do the job. Unfortunately, this election is not about policies. It's about sound bites, social media, and who delivers them better, and algorithms that deliver them to voters. Trump is far better than Biden in sound bites. How does he end this up, by the way? For that reason, I'm open to discussion to replace Biden. I'm also open to the discussion to replace Biden or Harris. It's not like Trump's approval ratings are high. Beyond the loyalty of his core 30%, I think large number of people who currently hold him, support him, would walk away for a better alternative. But if it doesn't change, I'm still voting for Biden, the ethical candidate who unquestionably stands by his oath and puts country over self-interest. Rob, can you pull the CNN clip of, what do you call it? They were fact-checking President Biden. This is, again, not Fox, Mr. Cuban. This is CNN fact-checking President Biden, and it's pretty bad. Go for it.
Some of them. He said he's the only president in a while who didn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world. Troops have, of course, died on his watch. He said he's put in a $15 per shot cap on insulin and Medicare. It's a $35 a month cap. He said it's a $200 cap on overall drug spending in Medicare. It's $2,000 a year. He said the border now has fewer crossings than when Trump was in office. That's generally not true. He said, or at least strongly suggested, unemployment was at 15% when he took office. It was actually 6.4. He said Trump wants to get rid of Social Security. Trump doesn't. He said billionaires pay 8.2% in taxes. It's much higher. He said Trump told Americans to inject bleach amid COVID. We know Trump made foolish comments about scientists studying disinfectant injection, but didn't frame it as advice to people. And Biden said the Border Patrol endorsed him. No, its union supported the border bill he supported, never endorsed him himself. In some of them, he said.
So
and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, but Tom, let me ask you, a Mark Cuban, why do you think he's saying what he's saying? You know, you don't become a billionaire without making the decisions, without, well, maybe he's such a great salesperson that's the reason why he's able to sell as good as he does. Does he actually believe what he's saying, Tom? What do you think?
No, so there's a couple things here. I can't read Mark's mind, but I'll tell you what I see. I see somebody who is a never Trumper and is putting out an argument as a never Trumper. He is absolutely never Trump. And I think we have to pay close attention that he is in the middle of very delicate, regulatory environment for a drug company that he is pushing, which gets his support dramatically from the left on Medicare and Medicare Part D. So I think he's a never Trumper. He's trying to construct this argument, and he's completely ignoring the feebleness and the capability of Biden and choosing. He's not dumb. He could have found, and he probably knew when he was typing that, at least half of the things that CNN talked about. Do you think that Cuban knew at least half those things that CNN talked about? Do you think he recognized those when he was watching? I think he would. Cuban is a smart guy. He's choosing to say, told nothing but lies, told only lies. And I think this is really disingenuous, and he's trying to use his place on X to kind of move the mob a little bit. I'm frankly pretty disappointed in it.
Adam.
Well, they're changing the way that they're spelling Biden's name now. It's no longer Biden. It's Bidone. Biden. Because he's done, man.
Oh, okay.
There you go, Tom. Biden. Yeah, there's a little video right there. They're basically flying a flag over there above one of his rallies, calling him Biden. But here's where the Democrats are at right now. They have no good options. You just saw the stats. You just saw the polls. He's still their best guy.
Which is sad as hell. That's
so
sad.
There's only a few names that you need to focus on. Forget about the Pritzkers and the Whitmers and the Bookers and the Jeffries. Those names have zero relevancy. Nobody knows who they are in the national polls. There's only a few names to focus on. Obviously Trump, Biden, Kamala, Newsom, and RFK. Those are the 5 names you need to know for this election.
And
Trump,
wounded warriors.
Biden, Kamala, Newsom, RFK. That's all you need to know. So don't be shocked when you start to see them parade Kamala out as if she's going to be fit for the presidency.
Are you sure? Because they haven't mentioned her at all. She must be flipping out, meaning, have you been hearing about Kamala as the main? All you've been hearing me is
she was
Newsom.
number 2 in the polls. Newsom gets all the hype. Let me tell you something, bro. In the Democratic Party, the way that they're playing identity politics and they're doing DEI, you actually think they're going to put some random white dude who's never held executive office or national office above the black vice president? They don't play that game, bro. Like, the only thing they could do so their base doesn't flip out if they want to do the identity politics thing is Michelle Obama. And I've been saying for 4 years, like, Michelle Obama's not running. She's never ran. She's not, like, it's smoke and mirrors right there. But Kamala Harris is the equivalent of DEI on executive steroids. She's done nothing in her career to warrant being the president of the United States. So, Biden at this point, we saw what happened Thursday night. It couldn't be unseen. And now they're basically saying, this guy that can't finish his sentences, he's going to finish the next 4 years. Competency. So there's a lot of people out there saying, listen, I'm not really happy with both choices, but I'd rather have a strong asshole than a weak and ineffective,
idiot,
nice guy.
Yeah.
So, I went back and I watched Biden since 2008, because that's really when we really learned about Biden. He became the vice president for Obama, and he was debating Sarah Palin, and he was this, this smile and his, Joe Biden thing going on. And then in 2012, he's debating Paul Ryan against Mitt Romney. And then in 2020, Trump. You say what you want to say about Biden. He had it. And, you have it until you don't. And they say in sports, like, you think that you're playing well, you think you got it going okay, and then all of a sudden, the new guy or a guy that still has it just blows by you. And you're like, what the hell just happened? And Trump just blew by this guy. Yeah. And it wasn't even close. So, Biden would say things like, all right, just watch me. Just watch me. Well, we watched you, Joe. And if this is the best you have, this dumb Democratic debacle that you had it going on weekend at Biden's, it's pretty happened. So where am I going with this? The Democratic Party, I was reading this article in the Wall Street Journal, and they basically said the Democratic Party deserves Biden, but America doesn't. So they've been sort of gaslighting us for the last couple years. He's still got it, guys. Yeah. Behind closed doors, don't worry about the stumbling, the mumbling. And even as much as 3 months ago in the State of the Union, say what you want, they put him on shots, drugs, steroids. Yeah, they forgot to shoot him up for this election or for this debate. Where was that? It was just so apparent. And now it's like sort of like the emperor has no clothes on. And they're basically like, no, he's still got it. And then you see all the I'm shocked. Like the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, hey, it was a bad debate. We all have those things. Trust me. This wasn't a bad debate, dude. This was a disaster. You got Jim Clyburn who's like, listen, you get 3 strikes. This is strike 1. Okay, they're just equivocating what's going on. Nancy Pelosi's basically, I'm a huge Biden supporter. He's been a great president. Raphael Warnock saying, absolutely not. Don't displace him. Bernie Sanders saying, hey, it was 90 minutes. You know, everyone has it. This guy lost in the first 10 seconds. His first sentence, he's like, we watched the debate. We're like, what is happening right now? But here's the reality. I actually think he's still going to be the guy that runs. As crazy as it is, he's still the guy.
But just to go back, I mean, Mark Cuban, Pat, you asked why. Either there's a personal vendetta about Trump must have slept with one of his girls back in the day or something, because look at that long ass thing. It should just be, he should write a book called TDS, a story by Mark Cuban, because I've been thinking about it. Regardless of who steps in, all right? And you guys all agree, no matter who it is, the policies are not going to change. So everything that's happening right now is going to keep going, no matter what. The border, economy, inflation, it doesn't, remember when Biden talks about they won't let me? Those Pat, aren't going anywhere. And somebody had a crazy idea about how, because we're all confused on, is it Kamala? Are they going to hang on to Joe? And then she steps in. Newsom comes in. She's the president. It's like, somebody else was like, Vinny, what if the deep state does some crazy stuff where they try to either assassinate, like get rid of her or get rid of him, blame it on a MAGA extremist, blame it on a MAGA person, and oh my God, there goes the martyrdom. Nothing's off the table with that. But again, it's the policies. And I want everybody to know this isn't election about Joe Biden or whoever. This election is just not Trump. The left doesn't give a shit. They'll put a robot in there if they had to. It's the policies are going to stay the same.
But you know what it is. But you have to also realize you lose a lot of credibility when you gaslight the obvious. He's gaslighting the obvious. I understand debating an issue. Okay, I have Billy Carson on. And he says what he says about Jesus. Okay, that's your opinion. You're saying what you're saying. Fine, great. You have the religious debate. I totally get it. You know, pro-life, pro-choice, have the debate. You know, Israel, Palestine, have the debate. Ukraine, Russia, have the debate. But when you say something like that, you're almost telling the American people, I think you really are stupid and you're going to believe me.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what you're saying.
I agree.
And if somebody watches that, you're like, hey, you know how a boy gets to a certain age and they have the feud with their mom or their dad, and it's normally the mom, because mom tries to use certain tactics and fears to be able to control, because dad doesn't need to use tactics. Dad's tactic is one thing.
Pow, pow.
Pow, pow, right?
Oh, man. Yeah.
So mom has to use certain fear, like
tactics.
Something. Yeah. And then you're like, Mom, listen, it's done.
Yeah.
You can't use this anymore. I'm not a child. Voters are watching Mark Cuban saying, Mark, we get you're successful, but we now really fully get why you sold your company that, months after you sold it, they parked the business because it was so bad. You're a great salesperson.
Big time.
That's what you're very good at. Well, guess what? Good for you. It's great to be a great salesperson. You can make a lot of money. Doesn't mean you're right. And, I think it's a credibility issue when you say stuff like this. Normally, when you're like, okay, something happens. If I ask you right now, a major trade happened, Lakers traded LeBron James for, let's just say, whatever, Joel Embiid. And then who's the first person you want to go to give their thoughts on that trade? There is a person. I wonder what Stephen A. said about this, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. What's it called? Elon Musk has decided, let's just say, to step aside from the Tesla board, and he is no longer going to be having any influence over Tesla. Mm-hmm. Who do you want to go hear what they have to say? Certain business influencers, or what paper are you going to go to? Wall Street Journal, right?
For sure.
Hey, in the political realm, something happened. Who do you want to go to hear what they said? Man, when you do this, everyone's like, let me actually see what freaking nonsense bullshit this guy's going to sell me this time, thinking I'm done. Yeah. So I think that's what's going on here with this guy. It's so much filled with envy, unfortunately, because I, again, think this ability that he has to gaslight, kind of like Newsom does, these are all great qualities on the left to be a president. These are all great qualities on the left to be a great candidate, because if this guy runs 2028, they would be behind him like you wouldn't believe.
Sure.
Cuban.
He would be and by the way, how old is he going to be in 4 years? Cuban. How old is he? Is he 62 right now? How old is he right now? 61, 62? What's Mark Cuban's age, right? 65.
He's
Good for you.
65 already.
So in 4 years, he's 69. By the way, a 69-year-old today is like a 20-year-old because with the presidents that we got running. So he'd be a young man.
Can I give you the perfect example of gaslighting? Like if you're like, what's this gaslighting? Because I think it was the word of the year.
I hate that
in
word.
2023. Let me show
it.
you what gaslighting looks like. And none other than Gavin Newsom. When he was on the, right after the debate, they asked him, they said, all right, what do you think on what's going on? He goes, what? Biden stepped down? His presidency's been a masterclass. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What are you saying right now?
Yeah.
So you're saying that Joe Biden isn't the greatest president of all time? I'm like, is this guy?
Well, that's gaslighting.
And you actually did a reaction video to this where you're like, this guy's the best actor we've ever seen.
He's amazing.
Like, it's incredible. Forget about Matt Damon. Forget about Leo. Here's what's going on there. But Vinny, you said something that's actually apropos, especially with Mark Cuban.
Hold on, that's a huge word. I need you to break that down.
Yeah, just correct.
Thank you. Yes.
The Democratic Party is more focused on beating Trump than strengthening America.
Thank you.
Because it was sort of your clincher, your coup de grace that you said the other night. You said, what's Xi thinking after this debate? What's Putin thinking after this debate? What are the mullahs thinking after this debate in Iran? Dude, they got 3 months to basically come get what they want. So it's a scary time in America right now. But it's the Democratic Party is you made this possible. Joe Biden was supposed to be a one-term president. We all know that. He was a stopgap, that he was a nice guy, he was a comfortable face, he was a placeholder to beat Trump, who was a weak candidate in 2020, especially after COVID. And, they say that absolute power corrupts absolutely. Once he's in there, and Jill Biden's got that, nice little cozy seat in the Oval Office with Joe Biden, they're claiming that she's doing elder abuse. They're like, Joe, you got this. Run again. Oh, don't let him out. Hunter Biden, I guess, is Hunter, advising him.
You nailed it, Hunter.
So, this should have been, for his legacy's purposes, he should have, a year ago said, guys, my job was to beat Trump. I did it. Thanks, everybody. I am, passing the baton to Gavin, to Michelle, to Kamala, whoever it is. But he stayed in there, and this is what's happening.
Massive announcement. Would you like to meet Dwayne Johnson at the Vault Conference? Let me tell you how. We announced our last Monette contest, which was absolutely insane. We were together at the Cigar Lounge till midnight. We had some of the best, I wish that was recorded. We had some of the best conversations together. Dinner at Casa D'Angelo. It was such a big hit that we're announcing the second official Monette contest. Listen up, everybody. This is big. First one was a big hit. This is big, and it's going to get bigger and bigger. Again, like the last one that we announced, there's going to be lightweights, middleweights, and heavyweights for experts to compete in. For users asking questions, maybe you've never downloaded the app before. Anybody that hasn't downloaded the app as of July 1st, this contest is as of yesterday, July 1st. If you've never downloaded the app Monette, you start Monetting, you're going to be competing against other people for Monetting the most with others. A Monette is you ask somebody a question and they get back to you. So there's going to be a lightweight and a heavyweight. Lightweight is somebody that's never downloaded the app Monette, and that starts as of yesterday. You download it and you start Monetting. And then heavyweight is somebody that has Monetted before, July 1st, and you also compete against people that were competing prior to that, right? You guys will be competing. Lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight, then you have users and experts, each category. Top three will be what we're going to do this year that's going to be slightly different with this Monette contest. Top 5 of each category will be invited. If you attend the Vault Conference, you'd have to buy the ticket, travel, everything yourself. But we'll be announcing winners at the Vault Conference. You'll be walking across the stage, nearly 1,000 people in attendance. You'll be walking across the stage, and everyone will be publicly recognize you at the Vault Conference. On top of that, first place on each category, lightweight, middleweight, superweight, heavyweight, of experts and users. And a lightweight expert is somebody that's never Monetted before. You download the app and you start sharing with your audience, so they start asking questions. First place of each category. At the end of the meeting, when I'm having a conversation with The Rock in the back, you come to the back, you meet The Rock, and you take a picture with them at the Vault Conference. On top of that, you'll be invited to a special dinner that we're having at Monette. You'll be invited to the CEO Lounge at the Vault Conference. And then aside from that, all of those names that we mentioned, you will be escorted by a sprinter to my hotel, and you'll come to my suite, and we will spend a couple hours together talking, strategizing like the last one. All I can tell you is the last one we did was a massive hit. This one's going to be bigger because you're getting recognition in front of everybody. And even the top people of winners, we're going to put your Minnect QR code out there so some people can Minnect you from the community of Valuetainment and Vault community, which is a massive community. So there you have it. The contest started yesterday. If you haven't started Minnecting yet, download the app, start Minnecting. Heck, who knows? I think, Vinny, how many Minnects are you away from 3,000?
Right now, I am 2 away from hitting 3,000.
Wow.
Hey,
Moments
let's
away.
see. Let's see if you can go pull up that QR code, Rob, with all the people on the. Go Minnect now. Be the first one to get Vinny to 3,000. Send a Minnect to Vinny to get him over 3,000. He passed up Tom. Tom, I think, is only about 20 or 30 away from getting to 3,000. Adam just got to 2,000. So download the app, start Minnecting. Cannot wait to spend that time with you guys at the Vault Conference.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.